Today we're catching some sun and waves with Vickie, a QHS member whose life is as vibrant and refreshing as a seaside breeze. What currents brought her to the sunny shores of the quantum shift? Let's surf behind the scenes to see the waves she's been riding.
Hi, my name is Vickie, and I've been with Quantum Healing Systems for 2 years. Grew up in Fresno, California, and then when my husband retired, we moved to the Central Coast, and we've been here ever since. That was 19 years ago. My ancestors on both sides of the family came from England. My dad's parents moved out here from Wisconsin to California before he was born. My grandfather died when I was only 2, so I never knew him. My grandma, she lived only 30 minutes from us, and every month on a Sunday we'd go up for her pot roast dinner with all the trimmings, her homemade macaroni salad, and applesauce raisin cookies. It was always the same, and I loved it. Pot roast dinner is still my favorite thing today to eat. My mom's parents, grandparents and great-grandparents, grew up in the beautiful Ozarks of Missouri and Arkansas near the state line. And her parents had to move out west to look for work in 1938 during the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl days. And my mom was only 4 at the time. At the age of 5, her mom had to go to work because my grandpa was a drinker. She went to work at the local cannery, and she worked there for several years until she was able to have her dream come true, which was to build a rest home, take care of people. She drew up the blueprints herself, and she had 20 people that she took care of. She did that until she was as old as some of them. She actually loved that work. My granny was an amazing lady. I moved up there when I graduated from high school. I wanted to earn money to buy my own car. So I worked up there for 5 months at minimum wage, $1.50 an hour. And I was able to buy my own car. Now, it was 10 years old, but it was all mine. I was born in 1950. I'm going to be 74 in about a week. And I had one sibling, a brother, Michael. He was 4 years younger than me. He died in a tragic shooting when he was 41 in his home. I guess my childhood was happy. I only have one memory from under the age of 12. That was about the time my dad developed alopecia. That's where you have a condition where you have bald spots all over your head randomly, not normal balding. And he was very self-conscious of that. He wore baseball caps for a while. Then he decided to get a toupee. Then he was self-conscious of the toupee. Eventually he started covering the spots with mascara. And I can remember walking by the bathroom on the way to my bedroom, and he'd be in there for hours trying to cover those bald spots to blend in with his dark brown hair. Back in that day, it was cake mascara, so, it was hard to get good coverage. But, boy, he spent a lot of time doing that. He ended up drinking over the whole thing, and his drinking got so bad that eventually us kids had to stop having our friends over. He was never angry or violent. He just really embarrassing. He passed away when he was 45 from alcohol-related issues. I was 22. My mom was a great mom, and she was a homemaker until I was 16. She had to go out and find a job because my dad could no longer hold one down. Well, she got hired with B of A, and she stayed with Bank of America until she retired. She loved working at the bank. Junior high, Oh man, that was rough. Grade school was a breeze, I guess. Junior high, I remember very well because I was bullied by one particular boy. He would play keep away with my purse with another boy. He'd call me names. He made fun of me. One day I went home with bruises up and down both of my arms. My mom went over and talked to the principal, and that ended the hitting, but all the rest of it continued. I became a really self-conscious person. I married my first husband in 1970. We were both only 19. 2 years later, I gave birth to twin boys. Unfortunately, we divorced 9 years later. I went through a lot of pain in that marriage, and I ended up seeing a psychiatrist for 3 long years. I was in really bad shape, and I felt really guilty about all these emotional problems I was having because I was the only one my boys had. But in spite of all those hard years, they grew up to be wonderful, absolutely wonderful, amazing young men and fathers, and I am just so very proud of them. I've been with my second husband, John, since 1982. He's the love of my life. We met when we both went over to the school to sign our boys up for Cub Scouts. Well, little did we know they were going to look for all new leaders because their boys were aging out. So I signed up to be the committee chairman. No, I'm sorry, the Cub Master. John signed up to be my committee chairman. So we got together on Saturdays to plan the pack meetings, and we would take the kids sometimes to the park and just kind of hang out as friends, get to know each other. Well, eventually, after about 3 months, after working hard one Saturday, he said, I think we ought to treat ourselves to a movie today after all this hard work. Dutch treat, of course. So we went to the movie, and about halfway through, he reached over and he took my hand. And I was, in my mind, jumping up and down, thinking, he likes me, because I had learned to like him very much too. So we stopped by his place on the way home and sat on the couch for a while, and he eventually started putting his arm around me and saying at the same time, it's getting hard for me to look at you as just the Cub Master anymore. Well, the rest is history. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with an incurable cancer in January that started in his femur when it broke. And a very rare and extremely aggressive type of cartilage cancer called dedifferentiated chondrosarcoma that doesn't respond well to treatments. We spent 9 days up at Stanford Medical Center because our hospital didn't know what to do with this rare aggressive cancer. Anyway, we were up there 9 days, and we came back home, came up with a plan, went back for surgery. Anyway, it's been an extremely rough year, to say the least. And we'll move on to my careers. My careers, I had a couple of different ones. First, I went to secretarial school. It was a 9-month course, like a trade school. And then I went to work for a pharmaceutical manufacturer. I loved my job there. The family that ran it, it was all family run, except for me and one other girl. Was wonderful, and they were great to work for. I did that for several years, and then I worked for a printing company for several more years. Then, when my boys turned 12, found out they needed braces. Well, I had to come up with some extra money to be able to do that. So I ended up becoming an image consultant with Beauty Control Cosmetics. Similar to Mary Kay, only we also did free color analysis for our clients to help them find out what colors look best with their skin tone. Well, I worked really hard at that and was able to eventually quit my full-time job and do only that. I became a director with my own unit. I was even in the top 1% of consultants in the nation for a while, earning fur coats and diamond rings and trips, and it was all great and wonderful. I did that for 21 years. I joined Quantum Healing Systems because my son and daughter-in-law had joined and they told me about it. And I have several health issues I want gone. The biggest one that really affects my quality of life is my back. I have degenerated disc throughout my spine, which has really affected the muscles and the fascia across my entire back, up and down across. And I tell you, I've been like this almost 9 years, and I have tried everything you can imagine, both holistically and medically, and through much of my own research, and nothing has worked. Nothing. Not even pain meds work for me. I can't be up more than 2 or 3 hours before my pain shoots through the roof, and I have to run and lay down on my bed again for another 30 or 40 minutes. I'm lucky if I can drive even a half an hour before the pain gets so intense I have to pull over and lay the seat back for a good half an hour before I can go on. What I have found actually works the best for me is just stretching. I do 15 minutes of back stretches in the morning when I first get up, and I do them again before I go to bed at night. And I also lay on heat right after breakfast across my entire back, just so I can try to function. I also have sciatica pain with burning and numbness down both my legs and in my feet. I have extreme dry eye. This is why I'm blinking so much and almost did not do this video, because I can't help it. It's debilitating at times. I can't even hardly see. I have chronic headaches and chronic sinus problems. I have chronic pain on the left side of my face. I have an erosive osteoarthritis, which is a more aggressive form of arthritis in my hands. I also have arthritis in my knees and in some of my toes. I have a painful and deformed breast from going through breast cancer in 2013. I have an abdominal diastasis, which is a tear in the abdominal band in the center, horizontally. I also have chronic bladder pain syndrome, which wears on me too. And I have chronic cold sores. I have back pain, foot pain in the back of my foot from bone spur irritation. I've had a chronic bowel issue that they can't fix for the last 18 years. I deal with a lot of fatigue just because of all these issues I'm dealing with, pain. I have dermatitis issues on my scalp, hands, ears, forehead, low thyroid, high cholesterol, ridges on my fingernails, and a bunch of other annoying things like that I won't go into. But it's going to be so great and wonderful to be rid of all of these things, be healed. And when my husband gets healed of his cancer and his hearing and his eyes, he's got macular degeneration in both eyes and can't drive. We can get back to living life and traveling. We love to travel. And then I can also focus on what I want to do with this wonderful organization, Quantum Healing Systems. We are leading the way to healing the world. God bless us all, and thanks for listening.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.